After a lengthy break, TC America, powered by Skip Barber, is back in action this weekend at America's National Park of Speed. After 8 races, the championship battle has tightened up between Ricca Autosports' Andre Castro and JMF Motorsports' Braden Arthur, who now trails by just 10 points with 6 races remaining in the season. Today, the next chapter in the title chase will be written right here at Wisconsin's beautiful Road America. Hello, my name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish joins me in the booth, and it's Amanda Busick down on the pit lane on a picture-perfect late summer day here in Wisconsin. Temperatures in the air 84 degrees, some humidity, but no chance of rain in the immediate future. That's the track temperatures, sorry, 84 degrees, 75 degrees in the air. Couldn't ask for better conditions to go racing, and the long wait, Cal, is finally over.
It is great to be back here at Road America. Certainly one of my favorites in this championship, as you said. Certainly tightened back up after Braden Arthur had a disastrous Sebring where he didn't finish either race. That let Andre Castro grab the lead by 30 points, but a 20-point swing at Road Atlanta has mean it's only 10 points here, and he's got a new teammate, Braden Arthur, here to help him out a little bit.
How about that? Mackay Stevens gets drafted in. He'll be starting in second place today in the second of the 2 Toyota Corollas. We'll be telling more about that story as the race gets underway. But let's take this opportunity to check in down in the pits with Amanda.
Hey guys, down on the pre-grid. I'm going to see if we can sneak in and just talk to Mackay Stevens real quick. I tried to talk to him a little bit on the pre-grid, and he was still going back and forth with his teams. Guys, how much time do I have down here? All right, I'm hearing we got 3 minutes, so I think I can chat a little bit. All right, this is as you set your sights ahead, Braden, what's going on in your mind?
Honestly, I'm just thinking about the first couple laps, seeing how it all plays out, because after that, I don't really know what's going to happen, so just trying to be adaptable as much as I can here for the first start.
We're going to go talk to Mackay quickly, too, but you told me that he was all in your mirrors yesterday.
Yeah, he sure was. He's definitely quick. I mean, in practice one, I followed him for a few laps, and I learned a bunch in the 2 or 3 laps I was behind him. So very, very happy he's in that car, and we've made some good progress with each other over the weekend.
Well, as we said, it is all front row JMF. We're going to talk to Mackay Stevens. I just heard that I have 1 minute, so I'm going to jump in here real quick. All right, sir, how are you making the transition?
Oh, man, it's beautiful lessons embedded in it the whole way. So just grateful to be here, happy to support JMF in all walks of life. Excited for the road ahead.
How'd you find out about this?
A very last-minute phone call, but it was a pleasant one to receive.
We know the approach that Mackay Stevens always has. I know, Calvin, you and I saw him yesterday over at the Paddock Club for dinner, and I just want to make sure we get this on air. He had such great things to say about the organization of this championship, talked about the drivers' meeting, how it's an open forum, and gave a lot of nod to John Fergus. So welcome to this championship to Mackay Stevens.
Yeah, it's fun to bump into him, and he certainly said it's not an easy transition. He's learning by the lap, and he said the car doesn't do what his GT3 car does, certainly, but he's there to assist his teammate, see if they can be in better shape points-wise when we leave here today.
Yeah, JMF chasing a couple of championships, one in GT World Challenge America, but also here in TC America. This is the way the points look coming into a pair of races here this weekend. Andre Castro by 10. Justin Gravett still in the conversation, but he needs to get a move on if he's going to really be a contender in the final handful of races. And really, it's those 3 that have separated themselves from the crowd, and the top 2 in particular, Arthur and Castro, that have been scrapping all season long, but a wrinkle in that with the addition of Mackay Stevens, who we've been talking about filling in for Jesse Dorkin this weekend.
Yeah, and as we said, there's a 10-point buffer right now that the lead that Castro has, but the difference between first and third, should those JMF cars finish 1-2 of Braden up front, would tie them at the end of today. Obviously a double-header weekend, so lots to play out. I mean, I think certainly for all of these teams, having the consistency and reliability to finish every event and score points, but it's a big swing. First time this year that we've seen Castro off the podium, was in that race 2 at Road Atlanta, so he's got to bounce back here this weekend.
He does, but it does seem like perhaps at a slight pace deficit to the Toyotas here this weekend, as evidenced by the starting grid. Braden Arthur starts on pole position, teammate for the weekend, Mackay Stevens alongside. Then you get to that armada from Ricca Autosport. Andre Castro, the quickest of the bunch. He starts in third. but over a second slower than the pole sitter in qualifying. Justin Gravitt will line up in the 4th spot. Then it's Matan Rosenberg making his return to the championship. It's been a little while. Eric Coons alongside in another Hyundai from the Rika Autosport team. Similar story, Shelby Mills in a Hyundai. Robert Bellevue in the lone BMW in the field will start in 8th. Logan Anderson, technical issue during qualifying, didn't set a lap time. He told me he was going to be on the charge today. Similar story for debutant Ricardo Cordero Munez, who has a very lengthy and stellar resume in rallying in his native Mexico and some north of the border here in the U.S. as well as in Canada. So excited to see him in his first start in TC America, powered by Skip Barber.
Yeah, unfortunately he didn't get to set a time, but I think he had good pace in practice, so maybe he can make some moves through this field. But up front, those two JMF cars, I'm sure they discussed how they want to lead these cars to the line. They did have an edge in qualifying. We'll see how this plays out in race conditions.
Let's talk about this track and how the touring cars will race here. Long straightaways, which means slipstreaming, drafting, maybe more important in TC America than any other races we'll see this weekend.
Yeah, and you have 3 really lengthy straightaways, plenty of racing room around the rest of the racetrack, tons of elevation change, so really one to look forward to here. Big challenges ahead.
And this is the track, of course, Road America, actually just around 4 miles in length, 14 turns here at this great facility. Tons of elevation change, a lot of different corners that teams and drivers have to tackle, but getting onto these long straightaways with a nice head of steam built up, that is crucial to lap time at this circuit. Pace car lights are off. That car has made the dive into the extended pit lane here at Road America, and now the field under the control of the pole sitter, Braden Arthur, just waiting for the green flag from the scoring stand. Couple of teammates on the front row. Mackay Stevens making his first ever start in this championship, and he's there keeping pace with Braden Arthur. Pretty good jump in that second row for the Hyundais, and Andre Castro, he is desperate to try and get around these Corollas and try and help his championship bid.
Oh, there's a car in the grass there, sideways. Oh boy, that was massive there. I think Coons got hit.
Shelby Mills, the other car involved. Coons, though, picking up the damage, dragging the bodywork. That will be reviewed by race control. Meantime, one of the Corollas, I think that is Stevens, yes, was swallowed up at the start. So Braden Arthur, he's lost his wingman here at the beginning.
Yeah, this is not what they ideally wanted there to try and manage this race, but it looked like the Toyotas brought them really slowly to the line there. And they got on the gas early, but it looked like Gravel was going to get a big jump from row 2. And then there's a real pincer move there where the grass comes into play. You make that run down towards turn 1. But everyone at the front end of the pack has kept it clean, but we did have that contact mid-pack.
So Castro as the winner, they are able to get up into the second spot, and he's putting the challenge on now at the top of the hill. That's turn number 6 here at Road America. He's run down the race leader, and Braden Arthur, he's not having things his way on the opening lap.
Oh, Castro has a lot of pace here, and he's looking to try and make some moves here. So Braden's got to settle in here. Looks like it's Castro's got the wingman, not the leader right now.
I take that back. It's Matan Rosenberg who actually made the jump up to second place. He started in 5th, but that's the 78 that is up into second place. So where has Castro fallen to? That becomes the question. Okay, 3rd in line, surrounded by teammates, and with the leader, the man he's fighting for the championship, in sight out in front.
Yeah, it really got messy there up in turn 1. Braden Arthur really kept it tight to the grass, didn't open up that inside lane for Gravitt to make a move. Hangs on to the lead, but by the time they exited turn 1, as you say, his wingman Stevens had dropped down a bundle of positions.
Challenge for position further back. This is Munez working on Bellevue, I believe, and we go full course yellow here on the opening lap. I wonder if it's for the debris left by Eric Coons. Indeed, there is some body work hanging around. Not sure if that came off of Eric's car or not, but that's the cause of the full course yellow, which interrupts the proceedings just before the first lap was completed.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild start there. I'm not sure what Shelby got caught out by. I think everyone just sort of like compressed up into turn 1, and he had nowhere to go and took to the grass. He actually did well not to just go through the complete field there, just touched Coons there as they were into the brake zone.
How about this? We had gone basically a season and a half without a full course yellow for something that happened during a race in TC America. Had our first one in quite some time down at Road Atlanta. Now right away, a full course yellow, just the second of the season, right at the very beginning of race 1 here at Road America.
Yeah, and with the length of this racetrack, it really eats up a lot of the clock here. So this is not ideal for Stevens to make some moves. It's going to cut his opportunities a little bit short in terms of time, at least.
Great work by the track crew to get out there and find that debris, tuck it away, and hopefully set the table for the race to be resumed here shortly. This is another look at the initial start. Castro took a peek to the inside, but there just wasn't much room there. But keep an eye mid-pack. The yellow and black machine of Shelby Mills got off in the grass, got sideways, and then tagged the back of his teammate Eric Coons.
Yeah, and as they go down the hill towards turn 3, suddenly the Hyundais were making moves down inside Mackay there into the brake zone and got by him.
This is why we're under full course yellow, and I do think that was off of the damaged rear bumper of Eric Coons. This yellow at least brings him back to the pack, having dropped down to 10th. But we'll have a chance to recover, assuming there's nothing more than superficial damage to the back of his Hyundai.
Yeah, and you wonder if there's going to be an incident responsibility there for Shelby. John Ferguson, the team in race control, will be analyzing that right now, and typically we don't see those announcements made until we get back to green.
That is under review. We got that message just a moment ago from race control. So as soon as a ruling is handed down, we'll pass that along. There's the team boss, Jeff Ricca, who came out of his retirement's too strong of a word, but hiatus to jump behind the wheel at Road Atlanta. He's got a smile on his face now. Wonder if he's been told he's on candid camera.
Give him a hard time for always looking so serious and intense during these races, but right now he's smiling. It looked like his Chargers had good pace there compared to the Toyotas, at least in the early going. Certainly from Rosenberg, that was a mega start, and thought about it a little bit more, got greedy.
First start in this series since the season opening round at Sonoma. Finished 5th and 7th in a pair of races there, but stays busy in grid life competition where he's a 2-time GLTC champion, 2024 and 2025. Great start, as you say, to jump up to 2nd place, and he has the race leader in his sights coming to the restart out of turn 14. Braden Arthur. We'll see if he takes that same slow, measured approach that he did on the initial start, or if he starts to pick up the pace a little bit earlier, coming up the lengthy hill on the front straightaway with just under 30 minutes to go in the first race of the weekend. It is a late start once again for Braden Arthur, who now accelerates away. The move is for the 3rd place. That's Justin Gravitt challenging his teammate and championship leader Andre Castro.
Yeah, not ideal for Castro. He had to be thinking about getting around his teammate. Now he's got another one to his flank.
Side by side between the two teammates. That is now for the 2nd position as Castro's dropped back to 4th. Mackay Stevens in the background as well, watching, very interested spectator right in the middle of this shot. Braden Arthur, though, able to get away, and this is just what he wants to see. A couple of Hyundais fighting side by side, and neither of them are his championship rival.
Yes, exactly right there, Ryan, in terms of those two Hyundais really slowing each other down with their perfect execution of a line through turn 3, and that's allowed Braden Arthur to escape. A little bit of breathing room. This means he can just hit his marks, not have to defend here into some of these brake zones. Guy Stevens just sitting there. He wants to keep it clean. I mean, he'd love to assist his teammate, but he doesn't want to really get too mixed up here and get his elbows out. He's just trying to let this race settle down to see if he can go off and pick off some of those Hyundais in front of him.
Drive-through penalty, by the way, incident responsibility. That goes to Shelby Mills for the contact early on with Eric Coons, so he'll have to serve that, and that would drop him out of 7th place as he runs.
See, the driver's starting to utilize a lot of this, what I call grasscrete. It's like these concrete blocks that have got grass growing up between them. It just gives you a little bit more safety net through some of these high-speed corners here. There's certainly a lot of it through the kink that the drivers try and use, even coming here through the carousel. There you can see it.
Fierce fight at the front of the pack. We'll keep an eye on it, but while we do, let's check in pit side with Amanda.
Hey guys, yeah, that was me talking to Jeff Ricca earlier when he started smiling. I hated to see him after the summer break this way, but he talked about the incident between his two drivers at the beginning. It just feels like Shelby may have had nowhere to go as things tightened up there at the start. They are going to keep Eric Coons out as we see that. That was just a little casualty from that, but talking to Eric, he really just wanted to get back in the seat. He had that bad accident at Atlanta. When talking to Jeff, I said, have you talked to those two drivers? He said, no, my attention is on the 77 and the 8. We got to get around those Toyotas.
Oh, a lot of dust kicked up there at the exit of turn 14. I think that was the leader, Braden Arthur, who might have dropped some wheels, and that's left him vulnerable down the long front straightaway, at least momentarily. There's the confirmation on the screen of that drive-through penalty that we mentioned, and Shelby Mills is serving it as we speak. Here comes Mackay Stevens, though. He's on the charge, sweeping across the bow of Castro. That's up a spot to 4th place. Castro down to 5th.
Yeah, this is not what Castro needed right now. It's going to be a massive point swing potentially here. Shelby Mills serves that drive-through penalty. That seems like an eternity here at Road America. Meanwhile, back up front, Braden Arthur certainly looks susceptible coming through turn 14, but it seems like that Toyota, kind of the start-finish line on, he was able to stretch the gap at the front. That's exactly at the same point where Mackay Stevens were able to make his move on Castro.
Similar story down this long straightaway as well, as Stevens looks first inside, then outside after the initial line of approach was cut off by Justin Gravitt. Side by side down to turn 5. Great passing opportunity here, but Gravitt is able to fend off the challenge there by Mackay Stevens.
Yeah, I thought Mackay was going to try and set up the crossover there on the exit a little bit sooner, but he had to kind of wait to clear the tail end of that Hyundai. Wasn't able to make the run up the hill to turn 6.
Just behind them, by the way, is Logan Anderson. That's the Acura that started out back after an issue on the outlap in qualifying meant that he wasn't able to set a time. Already up 4 spots here at the start, looking really strong, hanging right there with 2 of the quickest cars in qualifying, Stevens and Castro.
Yeah, and the Acura is really quick in practice, so by him not setting a qualifying time, I'll be curious to see what he can now do, see if he can make his way up onto the podium here. I think he's got the speed to do it.
3 different makes in this battle. White and purple Toyota. Wow, big slide there at the exit of the kink, and you know what? In previous years, that would have been a big one, but the new grasscrete that was installed in a couple of strategic places around the track, that gave him just enough space to make the save.
Yeah, it looks like a net, and it is a safety net for these drivers, so that is a big moment. That'll certainly get your attention at those sort of speeds there. You're almost flat out through there. Approaching terminal speed aboard one of these TC cars. Meanwhile, up front, to see if Braden Arthur can clean up turn 14 a little bit.
There's another look at the grasscretes. That's at the exit of turn 14 as well. It's concrete, basically, with grass growing in between it. I was told that you lose roughly 40% of the grip when you get out in that part of the racetrack. So there's no way you can use the extra room to gain an advantage. But what it does do, as we saw a few moments ago, is give that safety net, give the drivers a little extra pavement to use if they're having a big moment.
I think it's a great design. That's ideal. We've tried all sorts around various circuits. I remember Circuit the America, they had like AstroTurf, which would peel up and all sorts of things. So you just want to give the drivers a little bit more racing room, not to the point that they can abuse track limits and gain speed from it.
Part of the never-ending evolution when it comes to Road America, the staff here constantly improving, whether it's the fan experience or the on-track experience, and that has been a change that has been very well received by everybody I've talked to, especially those that have used it to save the race car, as Logan Anderson did just about a lap or so ago. And he's recovered nicely, closing back in on the battle in front of him. And how about Eric Coons? Good recovery from Eric as well after being tagged on the initial start. He's back up to 7th, and he's hanging with this pack.
Yeah, I was curious when we lose some bodywork, what does it actually hurt the performance or gain? Is there any drag from that valance kind of being in the normal position versus being torn off right now? So we'll wait and see.
Eric's on the attack here, as Amanda alluded to. He had a big crash at Road Atlanta a couple of months ago and had a lot of time to have to sit and wait and stew on that. With the big break that we've had, nearly 3 months since the last round in the championship. But Eric, with a big smile on his face, getting back behind the wheel of the race car and doing it at a great track like this one.
And as they run, Braden Arthur would have the championship lead again. Obviously a long way to go in this race. We're just approaching kind of the halfway point, as side by side here, Mackay Stevens feeling the heat. Castro trying to make some moves here. Goes around the outside. Mackay gives him some racing room, and Castro makes the move.
Big move there by Andre, and now Mackay is vulnerable to attack. Anderson swings on by as well. Mackay maybe a bit off the pace.
Yeah, I think he's trying to be super respectful of all of the championship runners here and doesn't want to be too much of a thorn in their side.
All of this is happening in the battle for 4th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Braden Arthur leads, but second place, Matan Rosenberg giving the 78 car a great ride today, Amanda.
Yeah, I was catching up to him prior to this race, and we did see him at the first race of the season in Sonoma, and he said that actually was a bonus race for him, that this was the actual plan. We were going to see him here at Road America, then on to Barber, and then on to Indianapolis later in the year for the last race of the season, but said he's been busy this summer. He's leading the championship in his C5 at Grid Life, but he's been keeping busy, but said welcome back to the championship for him here, and excited to close out the year with Regatta Sports.
That would be 3 championships on the bounce in Grid Life if he were able to pull that off. Became the youngest Grid Life champion to date back in 2024 when he won his first. Here's Stevens coming back up again, challenging Anderson this time, and does get back around in straight line speed. No shortage of it from the Corollas, it would appear, this weekend.
Yeah, but then he's a little bit slow coming off, and Anderson just makes that move very easily. It just must be in the sweet spot of the gear ratio for the Acura as he comes off that really low speed turn 5.
That's worth going to for a moment and having that discussion. These gear ratios, the gear stacks, it's homologated. So sometimes you end up at a track where the gears are just the way you want them for each of the corners, and sometimes it really is a compromise.
Yeah, you're just in between gears. If you go to the lower gear, it's too many RPM coming off the corner, and the high gear just kind of lugs a little bit if you're coming off, particularly as you get a little bit deeper into this race, and if the car balance isn't exactly where you want it, and competitors can be right in their sweet spot, and I think we saw that right there out of the exit of turn 5.
And again, just a reminder, Mackay Stevens moonlighting here in TC America. Jesse Dorkin normally drives that car, but was unavailable here this weekend. So doing double duty is Mackay, trying to help the team out. It's an extra arrow in the quiver, shall we say, for the team as they try and play that points game, fighting as they have all season long with Rick Autosport.
Coons is right there as well, so Mackay was trying to set up Anderson there on the approach to Canada corner and almost up in the door for Coons. So Mackay's got to be running, what's going on here? I started this race on the front row, and I'm now deep inside the top 10.
It goes to show the level of talent, though, in TC America, because this is the points leader in GT World Challenge America Pro this year by 8 points coming into the weekend. He's won a bunch of races at the GT3 level over the last season and a half, but it's a new car for him and up against some pretty stout competition.
And I think with Braden Arthur, he made the move from GT4 down to this and has adapted very quickly for Mackay being thrown in at the deep end. Got that call late as Amanda talked to him on the grid, and he kind of told us how this developed. But he's a fast learner, and he's a super talented guy. And I think right now he's trying to be super clean and respectful. He doesn't want to get in the championship way, and if he could support and just be there and be on the tail of Braden Arthur, that was the plan for Danny Koch and the whole group there at JMF. But now he's deep in the pack. He's kind of got to figure out what the dynamic is with this racing.
Part of it is probably because he's been in the thick of the battle, but Mackay is about a second slower than Braden Arthur in terms of best lap time so far in this race, and that matters because the fast lap here in race number 1 sets the grid for race number 2. Coons there challenging to the outside of Anderson, but couldn't quite complete the move, and Anderson immediately is back on the rear wing of Stevens.
Yeah, the Acura, there's a real concertina here, isn't there, between the performance of the Toyota and the Acura as we kind of navigate this circuit.
Kind of given a track, no, that's Braden Arthur, sorry, who was given a track limits warning here moments ago. Here he is at the moment, out in front by about a second and managing that gap over Matan Rosenberg. Gravett sits in 3rd place. Championship points as they run, it would be a big swing. Arthur to the lead from 10 down as they run, as I say, over Andre Castro. Gravett there in 3rd place in the championship standings. That's where he runs in the race as well. Dean Lambro's not here well, I take that back. He is here this weekend in a coaching capacity, helping out Logan Anderson, but his car wasn't ready to go. So He's here up on the box trying to coach Logan through, and Logan's done well up from the back of the pack, nearly cracking the top half of the field.
Coons there, quick on and off, back on the road. Yeah, shame that Dean couldn't be here this weekend. Super talented young driver, always gives it 1,000,000% when he's behind the wheel, but hopefully we'll see him back in the last couple of events this year at Barber Motorsports Park in Indianapolis, of course, for the finale.
Came into the weekend at Dean, fourth in the championship chase. 3 runner-up finishes this season, still looking for his first victory, and the hope is to have that car back and ready to go for Barber Motorsports Park. That's the next round of the season. Approaching 16.5 minutes left in the race, watching the fight for first, second, third, and fourth on the screen. Amanda, though, with an update for us from the pits.
Yeah, just wanted to quickly add on Dean Lambros. He is here this week, and I have seen him walking around here at Road America supporting the team. He is working alongside Logan Anderson and talking to Logan ahead of the race. Ryan, I know you've mentioned on a little bit, it was that issue in qualifying. It was a left front axle issue that took him out of being able to set a competitive lap. Logan said that the Hard Charger Award exists for a reason, so he's after it here today.
He's going for it, and I think would be the early nominee, although Rosenberg, too, has made up quite a bit of ground here in the early stages. But his position in second is not solidified. He is slipping back into the clutches of Gravett, and Castro, slowly but surely, is running down that duo of Hyundai teammates.
Yeah, Gravett's looking pretty feisty here, looking for some opportunity on Rosenberg. Braden Arthur leads this race by about 1.5 seconds, as you can see him heading through the carousel as that trio of Hyundais now comes into sight.
Castro just did his best final sector a few moments ago. Here's a problem for the newcomer, Ricardo Cordero Munoz, who is making his debut. They've had some technical issues with that car this weekend, but I wonder if that's perhaps rearing its head once again. These are short races, no planned pit stops here in TC America, powered by Skip Barber, but Ricardo unfortunately takes that car back to the attention of the Rica Autosport crew.
Yeah, and looking at his lap times, I got a feeling that he had some kind of technical issue going on since the drop of the green flags. He hasn't really posted anything very quick to this point, so let's see if they can use this as a little bit of a test session with just 14 minutes to go to try and get that car back in order for the race tomorrow.
Fun addition to the grid, given his pedigree in rallying, 7-time winner of the Carrera Panamericana, multi-time champion of the Mexican Rally Championship, the FIA North American, Central American Rally Championship as well. Here is the car in the pits, and they're going to work it on the right front, it would appear.
Block underneath the car there. Whenever the car's jacked up, they have to put that in there to make sure that the jack that got the car up in the air does not collapse, with the mechanic obviously working underneath it. So looks like everything was in place, but up front, certainly Braden Arthur's race is in place right now. Gap is nearly up to 2 seconds. Big question mark for Jeff Ricker in that camp is, do they play any team orders? Everyone's out to get their best result. It's hard to give up podium spots, but when you got the championship leader right there, what does Jeff Ricker and the group do? Well,
especially when there's the internal Hyundai championship within a championship, the IN trophy that is up for grabs, that has a pretty big prize package attached to it. So curious to see how they play it. Here's Eric Coons in the pit lane now with problems.
Yeah, they're looking at the right front initially at least, so I thought, what's going on here, but not what Jeff Ricker was looking for, seeing both cars on pit lane with some kind of issue.
Well, with that, 2 cars peeling off with problems and the drive-through penalty for Shelby Mills, that's promoted Robert Bellevue up into 7th place. Our first look at this BMW M2 running in anger. Rear wing affixed for the first time this year. That's actually a development there. Car was designed to have the rear wing, but parts supplying issues had delayed its arrival, but that is a big step forward for Robert and for that team.
Yeah, you'd have to assume that creates a little bit more drag down the long straightaways here, but certainly Road America is not just about straightaway speed. Certainly having a big effect into the brake zones like he's in right now for turn 8. Obviously the handling and downforce through the corners as well.
If he can hang there, this would be his best result of the season. Up to this point, he had finished 9th in race 2 at Road Atlanta. A couple other points-paying results with 10th place finishes early in the season as well. But this becomes a fascinating scrap here between teammates, and I'm totally in agreement. I'm really curious to see how the teammates play this. Rosenberg not part of the championship hunt. Gravett is to an extent, and Castro certainly is. However, they're running in the opposite order of that, so the man with the most to lose is in the back of this pack.
I'm really curious there to see the line that Castro adopted coming up the front straightaway. Didn't really want to get in the draft, so I'm not sure if he's got some kind of temperature issue he's dealing with. It was relatively mild conditions compared to what we've seen earlier this year at tracks like Sebring and at Road Atlanta, so he just doesn't seem to want to be in line astern with his teammates and pull any draft effect.
We often talk about it, but the cars in TC America, these are the closest to their road-going cousins of any race car that you'll see on an SRO America weekend. And with that, cooling in particular becomes a big topic. It doesn't have to be oppressively hot for cooling to potentially become problematic. Meanwhile, here is Logan Anderson up to 6th place from his 9th place starting position. Lost touch a little bit here with Mackay Stevens in recent laps after challenging him just a couple laps back.
I mean, the car looks good. Certainly had good performance compared to the Toyota. Accelerating. Oh, here we go. Some action down here into turn 8. Looks like Gravett's going around the outside, and I think, yeah, Castro's gone through as well on Rosenberg, I believe.
Yeah, Matan suddenly off the pace.
He's off the pace.
That drops him out of 2nd place, promotes Gravett to 2nd, Castro to 3rd.
Just hope there's not something going on with this racetrack and just the loads that it's creating for these Hyundais, because he is definitely, and he is pulled off.
Wow. Finds a safe spot to go and park that car. That's a chicane that can be used to significantly slow speeds down into the kink.
For Castro now, he's back
Huge.
into a podium position, and as they run, they'd be tied in points, he and Braden Arthur, with a 10-point swing and a 10-point gap coming in, of course.
Yeah, that's massive. Here's a look back. Maybe this will tell the story of what happened to Rosenberg. Car.
It just doesn't have the gas coming down the hill. Gravett sees that, goes to the outside, and then he's got no acceleration coming off.
That's a real shame.
See the smoke there emanating from the left front, and we saw 2 other Hyundais on pit lane with the mechanics investigating.
And the reliability bug certainly has hit the Hyundai camp here in this race, which we're not used to seeing. Those cars have been really worked on over the last few years, and especially the Evo version of the car has been really strong package for quite some time. Don't really see a lot of mechanical issues with those cars.
Yeah, the gap up front is compressed a little bit.
Significantly, I would agree. It was close to 2 seconds at start finish. It's down to 1.4 seconds now for Braden Arthur, but Gravett has started to close in, and he's bringing Castro with him.
Yeah, let's see what's going on with the leader.
Mentioned a couple problems for several Hyundais. Maybe Amanda can answer our question. What do you know? What's transpired?
Yeah, just over here talking to Jeff Rick. I just asked him if he wanted me to talk or for him to talk. He's like, I'll talk. What's happening over here, Jeff?
I mean, it's a mess right now. We got some issues with the 78, which he's in a really good position at one point. But, you know, we had a map change between qualifying and this race. And, we needed to have that before practice. So it was kind of unfair for them to do that. But that allows us to expose any, potential problems we might have with that map and such. And it's got a lot of unknowns because we've been running the same map for like 3 years. So, yeah, we're experiencing them now, and now we're paying the consequences.
Good to see that the 76 and the Eric Coons got back on track. Eric was having some issues in the brakes, wanted to have that checked out, and then the 76 should be good to go too, guys.
All right, thanks for that, Amanda. Problems on the track here for Logan Anderson, who has stopped top of the hill, approaching turn 6. That's dropped him now down to 7th place, and not in a great spot either. Hopefully he can get that car moving again and we can stay green.
Yeah, you can see kind of the heat haze coming from his left front as well. So
there's the full course yellow. Rosenberg, by the way, had limped his way back around. He's coming into the pits as we speak, but this full course yellow is for Anderson's stricken car. And it bunches everybody up again here with only 7 minutes on the clock. This really depends how quickly they can attend to Logan's car, but potentially this could set up a pretty dramatic shootout here.
yeah, I almost think the best way to get that car out of harm's way would be to let it roll back down the hill to the exit of turn 5. Potentially there's a little safe haven there, but you're going to have to do it pretty speedily here to see any more green flag action. But getting back to Jeff Ricker's comments there, I would assume that there's been like a BOP change to allow the Hyundais to run a different power stick, and it's something that he's saying that they have not run before, and that's creating some issues with the way the cars are running. So he's obviously frustrated by that, but I think after qualifying we saw that the Toyotas did have a little bit of an advantage. So I think the series may have gone to work in terms of trying to equalize the performance.
It's a tough task for sure, especially in touring car racing where you're talking about some, 3 different platforms in terms of we have front-wheel drive cars, we've got rear-wheel drive cars, we even have all-wheel drive cars in the case of the Corollas. Never mind all the other differences between them. You could certainly see the difference in wheelbase comparing the Corolla to the Hyundai, and all of these things have to be factored in and to the best of the technical staff's efforts equalized. And I'll tell you what, over the course of the season, that's really what we've seen, that any given weekend, it could be a Toyota at the front, a Hyundai at the front, an Acura at the front. Haven't seen the BMW there just yet, but it's the newest car of this group. And I have to say, tip of the hat to the SRO technical team for what they've been able to do, given the complexity of trying to balance the very different types of cars.
Yeah, obviously you don't want a car going backwards when the race is green, but as you could see there from the pictures, looking climbing the hill, there's a gap in the concrete walls there on the approach between 5 and 6, but safety workers are looking at right now. 78 car is done for the day after a tremendous performance.
Yeah.
That was awesome to see Rosenberg running so strongly here today, but most importantly, I'm hoping they can get that car back in shape for tomorrow's race. These doubleheaders come at you pretty quickly.
I would love to see that because his opening start was tremendous. From the 3rd row, he ended up 2nd halfway through, not even halfway through the opening lap. Tremendous from Matan Rosenberg in just his 3rd ever start in one of these cars and in this championship. Now, though, the question becomes how much time is left to us to try and get this race restarted. The hope is that we'll have time for at least 1 lap. We'll watch the safety car lead the train around here, but while we're under the safety car, let's head back to Amanda to hear from Dean Lambros.
Yeah, hanging out with Dean Lambros to find out what's going on with Logan Anderson. What can you tell us?
We think it's another mechanical, maybe in another axle, but we'll diagnose when we get it back. We'll take our time getting it back together, and we'll be ready for tomorrow better than ever.
And you have good news. When do we see you again?
Barber. I'll be back, Barber.
We'll see you with the helmet then.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, great to hear the New Yorker set to be back in the car. Really impressive young up-and-comer. He and his brother William have both raced in this championship. We've seen them in a couple different series over the years, and both of them, they like to race anything they can get their hands on. Legends, Spec Miatas, crate modifieds even, plus the touring cars here in TC America. Makes them a well-rounded racing family.
Yeah, he's a keen competitor. Love his driving style, how he gets dug in and goes for it every single race he's in. So I'm sure he's disappointed to be on the sidelines here. This is an absolute driver's favorite. So to look at the calendar for the year and to miss out on this one is not what he was looking for. But those are some of the bumps in the road that we have in racing.
Also not what we were looking for, the fact that the safety car has not made the trip down to the pit lane. So 2 minutes, 44 seconds on the clock. Do we see a white flag? Yes, we do. That answers the question. Unfortunately, this race will end behind the safety car for Braden Arthur. That is a big result coming into this weekend, down 10 points, and at least now has been able to pull even with Andre Castro, who sits in third right here. All things considered, decent recovery from Andre because he was down in fifth at one point. It was staring down the barrel of potentially a 10-point lead turning into a 5-point deficit. Instead, they go into tomorrow's race even, provisionally pending post-race tech.
Yeah, and I think Andre's got second fastest lap of the day, so that should put him on the front row for tomorrow.
Let's check that. The best lap set by Arthur, a 2:25.7. Andre also in the 2:25s. They were the only to do so. So there you go. Front row start for race 2. And at least puts him alongside his rival for the championship. And should mention for Andre Castro, there was some doubt whether or not he would be here this weekend. The last time we were racing at Road Atlanta. But some longtime sponsors have stepped up to help fill the budget, keep this program going, keep the championship bid going. Borkin and Scahill, Doug Mockett and company. And then for this weekend, his alma mater, the University of Chicago, also stepping up to help make sure that this championship bid can continue.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's, yeah, for Castro, you know, he came into the season not knowing what was going on. He's still tied for the championship lead if they cross the line as they run right now. So all of these drivers need a lot of support to get through a championship year. But a little bit of success gets everyone motivated to step up their support.
Well, how about this run now for Arthur? This will be a third straight win. If you take out the 2 DNFs at Sebring, which were not of his making, this would be, well, even if we throw them in. So in the last 7 races, this would be 5 wins for him and that team. Their 6th win of the season. It's been a remarkable run, but unfortunately 2 no scores at Sebring has put them in a place where even with all the wins they've had, even all the success that they've had, they're still in a dogfight for the title.
Yeah, no, it was a rough weekend. It was tough for Braden to get over that, but he came back super strong at Road Atlanta by sweeping the weekend. And Danny Cook is really effusive in terms of his praise for this young man, what he brings to the table, his approach to the sport. He thinks he's going to go a long way, and he said, first and foremost, we need to win this title for him and let him continue. I think he's going to stay within the group next year. Whether he'll move to a different class, wait and see. Obviously, they've stepped away from GT4, but there's potential for that to happen again next year. And I said, how about sticking him in the test for a GT3 car? And Danny just kind of gave me a wry smile. So we'll see. We're kind of guessing where his path may continue.
Any sports car driver's dream, certainly, to get a chance to drive top-level GT cars. And in this day and age, GT3 is about as high up the ladder as you can go in a GT car. So that would be a big opportunity for him. What is undoubtedly a big opportunity is what has transpired right here. Braden Arthur rattling off his 3rd consecutive victory to take the championship lead in TC America, powered by Skip Barber. Justin Gravitt comes home in 2nd. Andre Castro recovers to finish in 3rd, but this is setting up to be a tantalizing championship fight for the final 5 races left in the season, starting tomorrow morning with race number 2 here at Road America.
Absolutely. Going to be curious to see if some of these cars get fixed, so we have a full field for tomorrow's start. And Mackay Stevens, he learned a lot today, but he's going to come from deeper in the pack versus the outside of the front row like he did here today.
Congratulations to the JMF team, starting their weekend on a high. They, as I mentioned earlier, are in the midst of a couple of championship fights, with this one here in TC America, but also in the big show, GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS. That's another super close one going into the final few weekends of the season. And unlike in TC America, you only have 1 chance on a weekend in GT World Challenge to score your points, so that means they only have 3 races left in the season. Here are the provisional race results in race number 1 at Road America, which unfortunately ends under the full course yellow. Braden Arthur ahead of Justin Gravitt. Andre Castro completes the podium in 3rd. Then it's Mackay Stevens, a 4th in his debut race. Shelby Mills recovers from the drive-through penalty to finish in 5th. Robert Bellevue, his best result of his career, 6th place today. Then Ricardo Cordero Munoz, also Logan Anderson, Tan Rosenberg, and Aaron Coons. The bottom 4 all with some technical gremlins here in race 1, and less than 24 hours to get those cars turned around and prepared for race number 2 tomorrow morning.
Yeah, a lot of work in that paddock here over the next 18 hours or so we'll see what happens.
Should mention that Gravett has matched his season and career best result. Had a couple runner-up finishes here in his debut weekend at the championship last year. Was second in both races at Sebring. So this is now his 5th runner-up result, but still looking for that first win. And I wonder, on a restart, it did seem like Arthur was laboring slightly late in the going. Had we had that shootout at the end, I wouldn't have put it past Justin Gravett to take the fight to the race leader.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like the Hyundai's been coming to life a little bit quicker despite that Toyota being all-wheel drive. So we'll see what they can do. They'll certainly tweak on both camps tonight and see if they can make their cars a little bit sharper for tomorrow.
Found out today that Justin, who is an Austinite from Austin, Texas, was mentored early in his karting career by Scott Dolehite.
Oh, wow.
Who, of course, is part of the Dolehite racing team and still
there in the area.
Precisely, still takes a keen interest in Justin's progress. He's had a good year this year, coming in 3rd in the championship, and should still be there at the conclusion of the first of 2 races this weekend. This is a look at adjusted points for the weekend, and there you have it. Tied at the front of the field.
The season finished as it sits right now. Braden Arthur would get it on the tiebreaker of most wins, but one way to go. 5 races still to race.
And then Gravett there in the 3rd spot, looking up at Arthur and Castro, but did get a little bit closer to 2nd place. Dave Lambro still holds 4th, despite the fact he didn't start the race here today. Coons in 5th, Logan Anderson 6th. Really close, though. Anderson Mills tied at 45. No Mike Labara here this weekend, unfortunately, and several of the other drivers down below running partial schedules here in 2026, but that's the way it stands. Couldn't be tighter, but a big turnaround for Braden Arthur, who's been able to fight his way back into contention when things look pretty grim, frankly, leaving Sebring, knowing that there are limited opportunities to make up ground in the championship, scoring no points in those 2 races. Had a big hole to dig out of, but he's done it. And now, even on points with the tiebreaker for wins to take what is effectively the championship lead into the final 5 races of the season. Let's hear from our race winner now, who is with Amanda.
He hopped right out of his race car and said, that feels good. And I'm sure you've been told right now you are tied for the points, but that tie break would go to you on wins this season, now collecting your 6th. How far in the rearview mirror is Sebring?
I'm not even thinking about it, honestly. I mean, I think it's proof that, you know, you can have one bad weekend and a lot of people can focus on that, or you can move on from it. And I think we've done a fantastic job at moving on from it. And I mean, here we are again in victory lane. So it feels really good, and I can't thank the team enough.
I get to see you help out with the GT World Challenge team, and I'm sure kind of being a study of Mick and Mackay. What advice can you give to Mackay Stevens after this one?
Honestly, I'm not sure. We're going to look at the data and we'll see, but he's getting grips with the car, and he'll be right there tomorrow. I know it. So.
And starting in the #1 position again, Braden.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
That'll help the cause tomorrow, no doubt about it, with the best lap of the race at a 2:25.7. But Andre Castro wasn't too far behind, and he'll have a better starting position today than he did, or sorry, tomorrow than he did here today. There is Justin Gravett, smiles on his face.
Nick Johnson there, must be working with him, so that's pretty cool. He's certainly brought a lot of great young talents over the last few years in this paddock.
Let's hear from Andre Castro, who is tied on points for the championship lead, but will need a comeback tomorrow to try and take the lead back, Amanda.
Yeah, Andre, another opportunity tomorrow. I do want to showcase, Ryan, you were talking about the University of Chicago being on the car for Andre, and we know that you are continuing to put this together, tied in the points. How do you reflect on race 1 here?
Well, it's amazing to have you, Chicago, back on the car. You know, we started that partnership at the Chicago Street Race, and it's awesome to have them back on, and I'm just so happy to represent them. But yeah, I mean, it's a good podium, so we'll just have to keep going forward tomorrow, starting second, and hopefully do a bit better.
Nice job to Andre and to bring him back as we head over to Justin Gravitt, runner-up here today at Road America. And mathematically, you're not out of this thing yet, but what found your success here today, Justin?
I think just consistency, not giving up, and you know the team, Drika Autosport, Jeff Rika, Tyler, Car Chief, they've just been so amazing. So I'm so happy.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, impressive performance by that young driver. I think he'll start third for tomorrow's race on the strength of a 226.3. And there is Robert Bellevue, who will celebrate his best result of the season, his rookie campaign in TC America. Race number 1 of the weekend, doubleheader weekend, got underway just over 35 minutes ago, and it was an all JMF Motorsports front row with 2 Toyota Corollas leading the charge down into turn number 1. Contact further back in the pack between teammates Shelby Mills, Eric Coons coming together. Mills would get a drive-through penalty for incident responsibility. Mechanical issues plaguing a couple of drivers, including debutant Ricardo Cordero Munoz, who was in and out of the pits a couple of times. Logan Anderson stopped late in the race. That brought out a full course yellow, which unfortunately would not be lifted. So the race ended behind the safety car with Braden Arthur taking the win, his 3rd in a row. It ties him on points with Andre Castro, but he has the tiebreaker going into the final 5 races of the season. Checkered flag for Braden Arthur. Justin Gravitt, a strong run to 2nd place, and Andre Castro rallying from as far back as 5th to finish in 3rd.